What's good, guys? I was just going through my emails today and I saw an email from a guy who just asked me a question. The question says, would you date a stripper? Well, that got me thinking. I don't know. It depends. Well, it depends. How much do I know this person? Did I know this person before they were a stripper, or you just met them as a stripper? So if I met them before they were a stripper, I will have an idea of what sort of character this person has. And then I can make a better decision based on the idea that I know how they behave and I know some things about them which may be helpful to maintain a relationship, you know, a successful relationship with someone who does that as a job. If we just met and they're already a stripper, that's going to be a much more difficult one because you don't even know what's their baseline behavior when they're not doing this job. So some things she might do will be part of the job. Some things might be just going beyond the job. And you will have a difficult time trying to understand whether this is going too far or this is just the person's behavior, or this is or is this still part of the job, or it's just that's them going beyond the job. And that's just the person's character that they just go overboard. You know what I mean? It's going to be very difficult to maintain a relationship at that level. Then again, if you are going to be in a relationship with someone who's a stripper, there are two things you may have to consider before the relationship even progress further. And this needs to be discussed by both of you, really. And what sort of relationship is this? Is this you want to try to establish a long-term relationship, or this is sort of now type of relationship? If it's a now type of relationship, then it's not much to work with here or to be jealous about. You just know whatever is going on is now. But trying to establish a long-term relationship with someone who's a stripper, then that's a difficult one. You have to be strong. You have to be a strong-minded kind of person and not a jealous kind of person, because that's going to be the biggest problem with that relationship, jealousy. Obviously, the job requires your girl to take her clothes off to entertain other men. Now, I don't know what kind of person are you. Are you one of those men that like to see other men, appreciating their girl or something like that, and he makes you feel more special? Or are you one of those type of guys who like to keep these kind of things private? It's up to you. You understand? But personally, I think you will have to make so much compromises to be able to make this relationship work. And that in the long run, it's going to be more painful if something goes wrong in this relationship. And it's difficult to explain to any other individual who's not in this relationship why you thought it was a good idea to be in this relationship. Because from the outset, all the signs of this relationship, they're just red flags. They're just red flags. Like, why would you even bother to go in a relationship with someone who shares their body as a job? It's not like it's never been done before. It's been done before. And I'm so sure there are many successful relationships out there in this sort of arrangement. Like I said, personally, it depends if I knew the person beforehand, or even if I met the person on the job. Just spending enough time with the person, you can kind of get their character. Are they doing this shit because they love this, taking off their clothes, or maybe it's driven by, financially driven. Maybe it's financially driven to be able to achieve other goals outside of this circumstance. You know what I mean? So it's 50-50. Either way, you have to be a strong-minded kind of person to be able to enjoy such a relationship, And no one can tell you whether it's the right thing or not. It's just something that you will have to find a way how to endure it in your own way. Because what I think, or what the next man might think, or what anybody else might think, say, why would you be in a relationship with a stripper? We don't know the ins and outs of this relationship. Maybe this could be the most honest relationship you have ever been in, because from the outset, there's already things that need to be discussed. as a part of the relationship. You understand? So it's subjective to each and every individual who wants to take part in this type of relationship, whether you think you can handle all the concerns and the pressures and all the things that might come around because of this type of relationship. But to each his own, you know? It's not really a terrible thing. If it's making you happy, if you see the positives of it, more times the pressure will come from other people or what they think. And maybe your friends or other men teasing you on the idea of in a relationship with a stripper, escort, whatever. But no one else can truly put a finger on it. That is a good thing or bad thing. But you just have to know all the things around it or the problems it could cause you in the future. And if you're willing to deal with it, then that's fine. Other than that, I don't think it is that much of a terrible idea to be in a relationship with someone who's a stripper. If it's something that you plan on having an honest relationship about it, then maybe you can make it work. But it's going to be hard. I'm not going to lie. It's already hard to have normal relationships that don't have these kind of circumstances involved in. Now you're going to mix this. That's going to be a very tough relationship. Mainly on the person who's not the stripper. You could be a male stripper and a female that's not a stripper. Or you could be a female stripper and a male partner that's not a stripper. So the other individual who's not the stripper is the one going to have a hard time. Their mind's going to be all over the place every time the other half is at work. Even if you go there all the time, there's just going to be some moments where you think something has just gone too far. Those moments will happen over and over again. So, like I said, you have to be a strong person and not a jealous kind of person. Because if you are, this is going to be very tough, man. I mean, that's my honest opinion on the matter. It's not right. It's not wrong. That's just what I think. So to summarize, I just think you have to think of all the things that involve this relationship. That means what people are gonna say. You may think it's not important to you, but it might end up start hurting you in the future. Now you're making decisions of this relationship based on what other people are saying. So you have to think of all these things before you enter the relationship. And I highly advise to have a discussion about it before you even go any further with the relationship. Because this is the type of relationship that everybody needs to know exactly where they stand and wants what before it even goes anywhere. You can't just assume anything in this relationship. There's no room for that. This one needs to be a clear discussion from the get-go. So everybody knows what's what you're willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with. And then from there on, you make up your mind. I hope that gives you some kind of idea of how you can start to process the whole thing, whether it's a good idea for you to be in a relationship with someone who's a stripper or dating a male or female stripper. You just have to think of all these other things that comes into play.